everyone, it's Kala, and today I'm going to be talking about being an actor during quarantine. Now, I know this might seem a little bit weird to bring up now because we've been in a pandemic for over a year now, but I think that these things are still relevant to talk about because the pandemic isn't over yet. These things are still good to keep in mind until we get herd immunity, until we get more people vaccinated. These practices for being a working actor during this time are still important. So, first let me just talk about myself as an actor. I've been doing this for over 7 years now, and I haven't had too much success. Well, I've done fairly well in community theater, mostly ensemble roles, and it's been fun. It's something that I really love to do, and it's something that I want to continue for a really long time. It's something that I'm passionate about. Right before the world shut down, I had a huge breakthrough in my acting. I actually got 2 of the biggest roles that I've had to date. I was cast in 2 shows. I was in Seussical the Musical and Beauty and the Beast. And in Seussical, I was cast as a bird girl, which, if you're not familiar with the show, it's a combination of a bunch of Dr. Seuss stories, but it mostly focuses on the story of Horton hears a who and Horton sits on the egg, and then there are all these different characters that come through the story, and it's narrated by the Cat in the Hat. In addition to the Cat in the Hat, it's narrated by these bird girls who serve as backup dancers and just world builders for this amazing, wacky story. At least in the production that I'm involved in, it's probably the most demanding role in the entire show. I say that because it's got really demanding vocals and dancing and just acting. It's got so much involved in it. It's probably the most underrated character in the whole show because they're so involved in doing all the harmonies and all the narration and these backup dancing. And during the scene with Jojo, when he's like taking a bath and he's imagining that his bath is actually McGilligan's pool and it turns into like this ocean, the bird girls are the ones who actually run on and bring the waves with them. So it's really involved and you're running in heels and it's just a lot. Anyway, I could go on, and I probably will at some point about the bird girls. It's a great role. But it wasn't the role I wanted, and so I actually wanted to be Gertrude McFuzz. The bird girl was my second choice, and so I'm happy with it, and like I just went on this little mini rant about them. It's a great role, and so it's nothing to sneeze at, and yeah, I'm happy. The other show that I was in was Beauty and the Beast, and I auditioned for Belle. I actually got cast as Mrs. Potts, which comes with its own challenges because I had never been in a role where I had to use a British accent. So that was something new that I got to try. And so yes, I was juggling for the very first time my biggest roles to date, and I was in 2 shows, which I had never done before. So it was a lot of challenges and I was feeling so great, and yeah, neither of the shows I was in I had the roles I wanted, but I was growing as an actor because I was finally getting speaking parts and big roles in these shows, and it's what I've been dreaming about for a really long time. And then the world shut down, and I was devastated, and right now my shows are on pause until further notice, and I know that's the case for a lot of actors right now. Their shows were paused or canceled, and it's really hard to deal with because you work so hard to get to where you are, and then suddenly, because of things out of your control, it's not going to happen anymore. I guess that's a big theme of this video, is what can you do when things are not in your control? Some of the things that I was doing during this time was I was still holding on to hope that things would get back to normal quickly because we were told that quarantine would only last, 2 or 3 weeks? And so I was like, okay, well, I can host these virtual rehearsals. One of the shows that I was in had their own virtual rehearsals going on, but for the other show, I thought, well, I'm pretty familiar with these dances, so I can help everybody else out and hold these virtual rehearsals on Zoom. That's no problem to me. And so I did that for a while, but then quarantine kept going on and on and on. And after a while, I was just feeling really tired, and it didn't seem like I or anybody else was really getting anything out of the rehearsals I was holding. After so long, I just decided to stop hosting them, and that was it. But there are other things going on too. But in addition to hosting virtual rehearsals, there are a lot of things you can do. You can take a virtual class. There are a lot of classes going on right now that you can either pay for, and some of them are free, that are happening on Zoom and other things like that. Like master classes that are available from people in the industry. And I've actually auditioned for some of them. I didn't get the one that I was trying for, but it was a really great opportunity. I was taking voice lessons prior to the pandemic, and so my lessons actually moved online. My teacher and I have been working together for the past year now, virtually for the past year, and we've figured out a way to make it work. These are things that I've paid for, or that you can pay for. As things started to open up, I started taking dance classes that were socially distant, and so that was pretty cool because I'm in this huge dance role as a bird girl, but I have very little, actually no, dance training. And so I decided that I wanted to get better and actually understand different terminology and how to position my body so I don't get hurt and all these things. And so it was really good that as things started opening up, I've been taking socially distanced dance classes, everybody's spaced out and wearing a mask, and we've been able to make it work. Those are some things that I've done where it actually costs money to do things, but there are things you can do that don't cost money or can be something that you're already paying for. Trying to learn different accents or languages. A lot of times when I was studying for Mrs. Potts, I would look on YouTube and listen to people who were talking with a British accent so I could kind of get it in my ear and then try and practice imitating those types of sounds, because that's not something that I naturally make. And so, yeah, lots of YouTube videos. I was also brushing up my resume, and you can add all these things that you're learning from your classes and stuff to your resume. Another thing that you can do is study other people. Subscriptions that you already have. If you have Netflix or Hulu or whatever you like to watch movies on, you can study other people doing their craft. You can watch movies, you can read books, you can watch plays or read plays, because there's so much that you can learn. Just because you're not in person doesn't mean that the learning has to stop. A lot of people like to do Twitch streams or create more YouTube content like I'm doing. You can take new headshots. If you have a setup already at home, you can take some by yourself or have someone you live with help you to take some. I need to brush up and get some new headshots done because it's been almost 3 years, so yeah, it's about time. There are a lot of things that you can do and that are in your control. Even though things may still be shut down, that doesn't mean that your dream is canceled. It just means that you have to work on it in a different way, or a way that maybe you didn't expect before, and that's okay. But also, you don't have to be productive 100% of the time. It's okay to take the time to grieve. I mean, even Catherine Steele mentioned that she couldn't listen to show tunes for a very long time. That is something that I experienced as well. There was a time where I couldn't listen to any musical theater things because it just made me sad to think about all the things that didn't happen in the last year. It's okay to take the time to do that and to grieve. You don't have to be productive 100% of the time, and actually resting can make you more productive if you take the time to do it. So a little bit of a story time. As things are opening up, I actually had this really great opportunity come up, and I was hoping for this video that I'd get to share it with all of you. As I've kind of talked about, I've had all ensemble roles up until this point. I've been working at this for 7 years, and I really, really want the challenge of a lead role. I love being in the ensemble. You get to be in all the big song and dance numbers, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, you get to make up your own character. There are not too many rules. You're not restricted by a script or anything. But I would love the challenge of actually having a lead role, having to memorize lines and songs that are just for you. You're helping to drive the show along a little bit more because the story is kind of about you. I've never had that experience, and I really want it. I had an opportunity where I actually got a lead role. So it was in The Tempest, and I was cast as Prospero, which is a role that I never thought that I would get the opportunity to play because Prospero's a man. I was up for the challenge because it was my first lead role. It was my first Shakespeare, my first play. I've only been in musicals. And that's not from not wanting to be in plays, it's just I've auditioned for them and I've never been cast in a play. So it was a lot of new experiences that I was really looking forward to. And so I was studying up for weeks, just trying to get into Shakespeare, like understand the language and what's going on. And then really spending a lot of time getting into the head of Prospero and what he was thinking in a lot of those moments. And then I got a message from the director saying that the show was canceled because of COVID restrictions, which I totally understand, but it was still a big hit to me because I had been working so hard towards my dream, and I thought, finally, I'm getting a chance at this, only for it to be taken away by something out of my control. And I found out while I was at work. I don't know if it was necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It felt like the worst thing in the world because I'm like, man, I don't even want to be here anymore. I just want to go home and cry. So it was really hard getting through the rest of that work day. It was kind of good too because then it kept me distracted for the rest of that day. And then when I got home, I did cry. A lot. And then the next day I was just really tired. Yeah, it was really hard because, I'd spent so much time going into this and I was just so excited. Actually, while I was at work, I was daydreaming about it. I ended up making a list of things that are in my control. And, oh gosh, where is it? I think it's here. Yes, I do have it here. Okay. Things I can control. And so I have something specific to me that I can work on. One of the things I'm planning to do is make more music and work on this episode, actually. Oh, and there are some virtual shows that I'm planning on auditioning for, just to keep my mind active and just keep trying, because I've been thinking, and I talked about this with a couple of friends, that I got this lead role. Like, I earned it. And so if that happened, then that means I'm good enough to get another one. I'm gonna make sure that it happens for me because it's something that I really care about. But also, I don't want my work on The Tempest to go completely to waste. And so I would like to formally announce that I will be launching a special mini-series. It's going to be about The Tempest and the things that I learned in the 3 weeks that I was preparing to be Prospero. So I'm going to be doing like a deep dive analysis into the story and the character of Prospero and how he relates to the people around him and things like that. I'm still kind of figuring it out, but it's definitely a project that I want to work on because I learned quite a bit in a short amount of time. It may not be like perfect because I only spent 3 weeks doing this, but you can kind of get an idea of what I was able to do in 3 weeks with this character. I'd like to spread it across platforms, like I want to have my YouTube content be mostly analysis, and then I can do actual performances of monologues and stuff, but I was thinking I might have that on Instagram. I'm still figuring it out, but I'll definitely keep you updated on that. And I don't even have a name for the mini-series yet, but we're gonna figure this out. I don't want what I learned to go to waste, and it can't go to waste because I've already learned so much. Being an actor during this time is definitely not easy. The way that we look at performing is totally different, and some of it's good. I mean, I love that there are virtual performances now because I can actually see some of my friends perform that I've always wanted to see perform, but because we're far away from each other, we can't. But having this virtual format kind of allows me to still see them perform. It's not all bad, but it is really hard to kind of shift gears and look at things in a different way when you're so used to looking at things in one way for such a long time. These are the things that are coming up with me, and I can't wait to share it all with you. I hope you're doing well. I hope that you're taking time for yourself and taking time to slow down and breathe and just be with yourself. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe and set the alert so you can stay up to date on everything that's related to me and theater and science and anything else that I'm doing, because I know that I do too much. Alright, I'll see you next time. Bye.